That's some more Nekroz, Ice Barriers, and a giant cluster pile of cards for this video. Quite an interesting take, actually. Alright, smash everything, crap out that subscribe button. I will it. Alright, so the first list we have here is from Jonathan Whitehead. This got a third place out of a locals. And this is actually Nekroz Drytron. I know a few players are always like, ooh, I see Nekroz, I click the title. Well, here's a nice little thank you from me to you guys, for those of you that love this kind of stuff. So, ooh, now this is the spooky part here. Alright, so we have triple copies of Nekroz, of Brionic, 2 copies of Colossus, so we have our Spell Searcher, Monster Searcher, 2 copies of Valk for the Battle Phase Stop, 2 copies of Unicorn. Hey, you guys remember when people were like, you should play 3 Unicorn? 2's fine. Like, I don't see an issue with this. We have 1 Trishula, only 1 Ben 10. So, unfortunately, Ben 10's hit did kind of hurt this deck a wee little bit. You're still going to use it to search for Vanity's Ruler pretty much in the same way that you were with all the previous versions of this deck. I mean, honestly, nothing was really lost. We also have 2 copies of Shrit, triple copies of Alpha Thuban, 2 copies of Aldabaya, 2 copies of Alteus, 1 copy of Eltanin, 2 copies of Manju, 1 copy of Vanity's Ruler, with triple copies of Cyber Emergency, 1 Called by the Grave, only 2 copies of Drytron Nova, triple copies of Drytron Fafnir, 1 copy of Metanis, 1 Nekroz Mirror, 1 Nekroz Cycle, 1 Kaleido, with triple copies of Preparation of Rites, and a single Foolish Burial here. Down here in the extra deck, we have 1 Nightmare Phoenix, 1 copy Nightmare Unicorn, 1 IP, 1 Relinquished Anima, 1 Link Karibo, 1 Zeus, with 1 copy of Downward, 1 Assembled Nightingale, and 1 copy of the Kingashi Fucho. Then we have Shooting Quasar Dragon. Now remember, you do need to play these really weird high-level monsters because Kaleido does, require really odd levels for you to be able to summon. We have 1 Shooting Star and 1 Star Eater, 1 copy of Black Rose, 1 copy of Herald, and 1 copy of Venantiz. Side deck here we have 1 more Extending Trishula, triple copies of Lancia, 2 copies of Godarla, 2 Cyber Dragon with 1 Chimera Tech Mega Fleet, triple copies of Lightning Storm, and triple copies of Forbidden Droplet. Wrapping up Jonathan Whitehead's pretty cool Nekroz deck. Like I said, I like how we are actually taking the Drytron engine here. We are using this as, the basis to carry our strategy. Alright, I think almost pure Nekroz might not be super optimal anymore. It kind of pains me to say that because I loved that deck back in the day. But as of making this video, this just feels and looks a whole lot better on paper. Next up, we have Zefra, a pile of cards. I think this is a pile of cards. This was 27th place, Brian Kihu's list out of the last extravaganza in late March. And I kind of think that this is a little bit interesting here. Now, 27th place might not be anything too crazy to scoff at, but out of 350 players, that's a pretty impressive feat, all things considered. Like, not normal people will be able to do that. This is definitely reminiscent of some of the other clusters that we saw from Ben Gregson, actually. So we have 1 copy of Emancipator Researcher, 2 copies of Artifact Lancia, triple copies of Deep Sea Diva Machine, 1 copy of Deskbot 001, 1 copy of Pankratops, 1 copy of Doggo Man, 2 copies of Fantasia, 2 copies of Drek Alio, 1 copy of Coltwing, 1 copy of the Warble, blah, 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 triple copies of Miscellaneous Ceresaurus, 1 copy of the Samurai Cavalry. It is a scale 3, actually, so I guess that's important. 1 copy of Zefra Thuban, triple copies of Oviraptor, 1 copy of Zephyraxion, 2 copies of Darkworm, 1 Gate Zero, triple copies of Zephyrath, 2 copies of Zephranu, 1 copy of Zephyr Saber, the Swordmaster of the Nekroz. Fun fact, you can actually discard Nekroz and Brionic to search this. We have 1 Zephyraxi and 1 Searcher here. We have 2 copies of Book of Eclipse, triple copies of Dragon Shrine, 1 copy of Foolish Burial, triple copies of Forbidden Droplet, triple copies of Fossil Dig, triple copies of Oracle of Zefra, 1 copy of Terraforming, triple copies of Zefra Providence with 1 9 Pillars, triple copies of Shade Brigade, 1 Zefra Divine Strike, and 1 copy of Zefra War. What in the cluster heck of cards are we trying? We're just building big boards through Auroradon. So we have 2 copies of Auroradon, 2 copies of Hulk, 1 Access Code, 1 Gallant Granite, 1 Abyss Dweller, and then we have 1 Trishula Zero Dragon. Yeah, we're actually hard making this Trishula, and then we're just doing cool things with this. We have 1 Super Trishula to back up our little Trishula, 1 Shooting Riser, 1 Photon Pulse Dragon, 1 Metaphys, 1 Herald, 1 Dawn Dragster, and 1 Cyberse Quantum Dragon. Side deck here we have 1 Lancia, 1 Phantasmate, triple Sphere Mode, triple copies of Dark Ruler No More, 1 Feather Duster, 2 copies of Twin Twister, triple evenly matched, and 1 copy of Red Reboot, wrapping up 27th place out of 350 plus players for this past weekend's extravaganza. Definitely interesting. There's a lot going on here, and I like it, like in a chaotic way. Next up, we have Ice Barriers. So this was the 83rd place out of 350 players, yet again here. This was Kyler Lemixia's list. Reached out to me and sent me this. I was like, you know what? It's Ice Barriers, man. We got to show some love for this. I see we're also playing Penguin Brave. All right, this is awesome. So we have triple copies of Ash Blossom and Joy Spring, 1 Geomancer, 2 copies of the Dewdark of the Ice Barrier, triple copies of Droll and Lockbird, triple copies of Phantasme, gotta get the draw power, 1 copy Ghost Ogie, 1 copy of Hexus Spirit of the Ice Barrier, 1 Penguin Soldier, triple copies of Revealer of the Ice Barrier, 1 Ronin Totem, triple copies of Speaker of the Ice Barriers, 1 copy of Spellbreaker, and triple copies of Swap Frog. Spells here we have 2 copies of Cosmic, triple copies of Medallion for our Searcher, 1 Monster Reborn, triple copies of Pot of Desires, triple copies of Talents, and triple copies of Infinite Permanence, wrapping up the main deck. Definitely interesting here. And then we have 1 Marincess Coral Anemone, 2 copies of Hulk, 1 Boral Sword, 2 copies of Totally Awesome, 1 Bahamut Shark, 1 Abyss Dweller, 1 copy of Trishula, 1 Penguin Brave, 1 copy of the Desert Locust, 1 Crestron Quandrax, 1 copy of Brionic, Borrowed Savage, and the 1 Dragite. And then we have 2 Alpha, triple copies of Lancia, 1 Prankertops, 1 Cosmic Cyclone, triple copies of Dark Ruler No More, 1 Feather Duster, 1 Impure Order, and triple copies of Solemn Judgment. Wrapping up Kyler Lemixia's a very, very interesting list. Not quite sure how I feel about this, but still it was an X3 finish, so it's definitely worth considering. And the last list I have here is the 16th place. This was Daniel Gaston's list. He said, shoutouts to Team 7 Deadly Sins and the Garage Duelist of CFL. Alright. And then last but not least, shout out to all the duelists he played. So, this is Zoolich with the Dragoon package. So we have 2 copies of Ash Blossom and Joy Spring, 2 copies of Didi Kra, 2 copies of Droll and Lockbird, 2 copies of Effect Veiler, 2 copies of the Golden Man himself, 2 copies of Nibiru, 1 Ram, 1 Rat Pier, 1 Throwblade, triple copies of Whiptail, 1 copy of Dark Magician, and 1 Red Eyes. Spells, we have triple copies of Cursed Old Land, triple copies of Tenki, 1 Red Eyes Fusion, 1 Barrage, triple Conch, triple copies of Scarlet, triple copies of Haguero, 2 Infinite Permanents, and 1 copy of Zodiac Gumbo. Then we have 1 Verte, 1 Link Spider, 1 copy of Phoenix, 1 Megaclops, 2 copies of Tiger, 1 Trident, 2 Chakanine, 1 Borbo, 1 Drill Driver, 1 copy of Zeus, 1 copy of Pleiades, 1 Dragoon, and 1 Super Poly Target. Yeah, weird things start happening with this card. We have 2 copies of Lancia, 2 copies of Ghost Bell, 2 Sphere Mode, 2 copies of Cosmic, 2 copies of Droplet, 2 copies of Super Poly with 2 evenly matched, and 1 Imperial Order, baby. Wrapping up some very, very interesting deck profiles for everybody. And of course, if you guys ever do well with anything, please reach out to me. I love getting the chance to cover these lists, and anytime I'll try to attach the names for what I have for information. But I'll see your beautiful faces back later on in the day after you hit the ever-living crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more content. Peace out, guys. Have a good one. Thank you, patrons, for making the ride never truly end. Without you guys' support, well, I would probably be doing Truffle Shuffle videos for a living. Guys, please check out VanCool40 for all of your Cardfight Vanguard content brought to you by MCool40. And if you are looking to pick up singles, check out mcoolgames.com for your trading card game needs. Thanks for watching, everybody.